Investing and trading in the financial markets impose substantial risks to where one can lose all or more than an initial investment. The content provided by myself are for educational purposes only. All ideas and forecasts mentioned within are simply my opinions and not investment or trading advice. Trade at your own risk. Alright, this video is going to be brief and probably just very selective. We're going to talk about the eminis first. In a separate video, I talked and reviewed about the dollar index, and that's worth a watch. Alright, last week we was using the highs before the breakdown, before the gap down, pretty much for that Sunday evening. Alright, we're just going to be about, alright, to lows. Alright, and that gave us this profit target at the 45s. And we traded them pretty much on that Monday. Remember, buying Sunday, Monday weakness, been extremely profitable. And that held. And you can say it did. I mean, the measurement is down to the 45s. And we didn't get there that Monday after the rally, and or Tuesday or any other day after that. But instead, throughout the week, we had found resistance at these levels. And again, everybody's waiting for this, for the back and fill, which never came. It never came. We was all hoping for either the 34s or the 22s halfway back, and I was measured from the 34s to lows, or the 22s to lows. Alright, this is the level we was waiting for to trade. Alright, so let's get rid of this one. Alright, this level never came. Never came. And instead we're making new lows on this gap down. Alright, on the ES I want to do after the fact and not before the fact, only because it's the videos won't be beneficial, you know, of what we have going looking forward. Alright, and or if anything, there would have been many scenarios to what we could have chosen from at that time. But now that the Globex session has already started, we can use these levels going forward. And we didn't break this one support level, the major support level. Everybody's looking at 2040s as being a major. I'm still excuse me, you're drawing the wrong one again. That's about right. It's about 2134 if I can get it. 2135 I printed. Alright, so this is the major level. It should show as like 29s as your line in the sand. And we're trading it now. So if this breaks, alright, no longer will we have profit targets up above at the 2174s. That just erases itself. So going forward, if we print below 29s, we're going to be looking for a lot more downside, and actually soon. And the ball has already started. This is how quick the downside will happen. And again, very dangerous. A lot of the crowd was looking for a pop. We never got it. All right, new buyers at lows will make new lows. You know, people who buy the dip will make new lows. The same way as people who shorted every single pop, they produce new highs. So and this is the time to where, you know, you got bears who was waiting for higher prices, and bulls who were holding the bag and just waiting for this to be repaired in order to just let it go. And nobody got what they was looking for, and this is how the market fools everybody. So this is the reason why my chart looks like this. All right, This is the reason why my chart looks like this, because I take into account all the possibilities. It may look like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but the person who was selling this, excuse me, and let's get rid of this one. All right, this is a 15-minute chart, mind you. All right, let's get rid of this small one. All right. If you don't know the drawings by the back of your hand, if this all looks like mumbo jumbo to you, then you're wasting your time looking at these videos. But when I see this, when I see a chart where it's at, you know, I know where these levels are at. I know what's important and what's not. And this is not mumbo jumbo. This is price action. And pretty much from the lows of Tuesday, and we trailed this all the way halfway back. We've been finding support here. We've been finding support all throughout the week. All right, we've been breaking any kind of continual setups. However, this support still holds, and this is drawn from Tuesday's lows to Thursday's highs. Okay, now this level breaks. It actually is getting hit with this gap down now. All right, so we gotta erase this. All right, and mind you, look what a profit target was if it did complete. All right, that was going to break this setup, this short that's right above us, that pretty much is being drawn. Excuse me. Oh my god. This line is being drawn. Let's get rid of these ones because they're not active. That's not the one. That's not the one, meaning it's not active. That's not the one that's finding participation on. All right, and you can either measure this, which it gives you the same one. If you measured from these 2099s, excuse me, the 2100s, which is the same level. It's the same level I'm measuring from. All right, let's just erase this one. Let's just show you. We're measuring from these 2175s to the 2054s. I didn't measure to down here because we started rallying back up, and that traded, but we didn't trade the profit target yet. We just kept collecting sellers. Sellers, what they kept getting this level, right? Every single time it traded, they kept getting it, and we're just now today completing those targets. So I don't advise you, you know, I mean, yes, we can go straight down. We can keep going down. And how do you know we'll keep going down? These lows to lows, which they broke. They broke. If you want to draw from, there really shouldn't be no other variation. Honestly, I would keep it strict. Don't try to draw no other levels and just draw from those lows. And they broke. Right? Now you just measure the commitment of this overnight session now. Lows to highs. Yes, if this does break, if we do start printing back below these 37 quarters, then just try to find a smaller setup that would keep your wristband, you know, small. But just so long as this hole will start making our way back up into a gap fill. All right, so there's really nothing to say going forward. You're just gonna have to measure what we have at hand, and until it becomes difficult. Yeah, you can always look forward to all the way halfway back, but until that happens, you know, that will give you right back to where the same level all the way halfway back now. All right, so when we get back up here, and I didn't take a position over the weekend. I had a rough week with all that I focus on, and I didn't take the risk over the weekend. right? Because anything could have happened. We could have gapped up into that level, the resistance level, or we could have gapped down. And I didn't take that risk. Real quick, oil. All right. Let's get rid of all these lines. I want to go over in the future, save for another time, of pretty much how we got into this point, but not for right now. All right, so let's get rid of all these drawings. Okay, oil did something very huge. Well, depending on how you looked at it. But we was drawing from these highs to highs. Mind you, remember what the euro did? It came into a full halfway back. And just real quick, let me just go to the euro. I have it on another chart, but I just don't want to switch. Yeah, symbol dot 60. Of course it doesn't. Alright, the euro. Alright, forgive all these other lines. I'll get rid of this one at least. But if you're measuring, depending on the April lows or the March lows, alright, all the way to highs, lows to highs, alright, it gives you these two lines, alright. The red and this pink magenta line, that's your lines in the sand. And we had traded that last Sunday with that gap down. And here it is again on this gap down again. We're trading it as well. Right, those still have targets up at the 117s, but this as well I had flattened out. Once we had broke this on, it was pretty much at the end of the day too. But my trailer, or anything that I tried to get long of, oh, excuse me, wrong one. It's just about the same level, but I wasn't measuring to there. Excuse me, from these lows to these highs. We broke these 108.6s, and that was my line in the sand going forward. If it didn't want to hold that, then I just didn't want to hold it. And didn't. I got stopped out the rest. If you're not trading them, if you're not at minimum, you know, when you get in a position, you book a few ticks up to pay for your stop, you're gonna be hurt every single time. And with that said, I didn't. There's a lot of rules that I had bended and broke, and you better believe I suffered the pain that came with it when you bend rules. So going forward, this didn't make a new lows. So I found that interesting. We're just trading this. I did not take a position yet. I want to actually see which it did. It break a short, and depending on wherever you measured it from, whether it's these lows or these lows, this broke. So I find it funny how already, it's already in a half gap, and it's holding any kind of little line in the sand. So we'll see. We'll see going forward, but that's the euro. Just trying to show you how it traded its halfway back long, and how oil as well. Any kind of hope that we had for a high level setup. What I mean by a high level setup, this is a very aggressive play. In this high to high extension, right? The only reason why I thought that would have been a logical or really psychological play was because a lot of people, the psychology on this, on oil going down, was the targets so much lower are written in the books, sub 30, sub 20 oil. So see, for people to get squeezed and for them to not have a, I guess, a retracement or a way to get back out of their short, at least somewhat break even, was to hold higher and just squeeze them even higher. Come to find out, it was on Friday, this level broke. All right, Thursday, which this is when you go and counter trend, it's very, it's difficult to stay in the trend only because you will wind up breaking, especially up here. especially the week before. We just kept breaking shorts in some fashion. You see, anything that anybody who tried to get short, just there was no way they could have stood in that trade unless they was really watching the micros in order to stay in. And eventually it just started working out. When you try to use the micros, it's a lot difficult. I find it more difficult when you're not in trend. And the only way to stay in this, you have to just take a very conservative stop, slap it up above, and just leave it. And it worked out because the oil was making substantial new lows. It broke that daily setup, the the high level flag, and we will see going forward if this halfway back holds. Still have another $2.50 just to get to support, but then it can obviously dip a lot lower, so about $50 before it's this is no good. I am not gonna blind limit this. I know it doesn't really make sense when I was blind limiting this level. The only reason why I was blind limiting this level only because you had a very tight risk area, and at the same time I would, if I'm taking a long, I'm also I'm not holding it at the same time, meaning that there was only two times that you could have really gotten long on this, and that was here and here. And substantially, you could have whatever you had taken, you could have gotten off very quickly, right? Reduced your risk, and in order to cover this break. And twice you had good setups, but this is just a failure. There was no continuation. I remember we was looking at this. Once that held, I even re-added here. You know, you taking off here, re-add. Why not? Right? But then you have to take it right back off. Right? It's just you rinse, wash, and repeat. You're gonna repeat the same process in order to get to your larger targets. And this is how you don't suffer when this breaks. So now this broke. Again, the only other support below, is here. It's 52 down onto 50. And if that breaks, this trend continues straight up. We never traded the original resistance. And this is, you can only make your case for this being your resistance up at the 74s, up onto 82s. And obviously that didn't trade. Yeah, you can make a case. I'm putting together a video on all the extensions going down. It is very possible. I mean, anything is possible, but this is how we measure the commitment of all of these buyers. And we'll see. Right? Right now, I'm more of a neutral to leaving it alone. Right? Thursday, let's go back to these smaller time frames real quick. So it's Thursday. Alright, we was coming into support, and I remember saying there wasn't the volume associated with initiating buying. There really wasn't, and there's something to take notice on. You know, you want to make sure people are buying with you, and you're not the only sucker there just buying it. So Thursday at the lows of the day, pretty well, it was off the lows, and you had one pop up. But what did you come into? And it was actually here. I'll get rid of this one. It's here. It was this measured move down. It came right into it. And if we couldn't get above these 58, 58s, It was actually a different number. I didn't draw it exactly. Excuse me. Once we couldn't get above that, you just had to reduce size. And that's what I did on Thursday. I had nibbled there. Um, I even tried it on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I had gotten stopped out of that. And Friday, same old story. We just tanked. We broke that whole upper flag, and it's not even it's not on the list for another few dollars down. Going forward, just we'll watch what the euro's doing, uh, and I'll determine everything else. The euro's trading it's halfway back, so it is more likely a lot of these other assets will do the same. Safe trading.